Oh my gosh. What a crazy, crazy world we live in. Hi, welcome to Trans Voices of Love and Kindness with Regina and Company. I am Regina, and you are you. Oh, my stars, these guys are carrying on in the back room, kind of distracting the boss lady from getting started with the show. They're like an anchor around my ankle, quite frankly. So anyway, let's get to it. We got a great conversation lined up for us today. We're going to talk about stuff. But first, let's talk about Raised Rose Coffee. This is a business that I own. We've got a website, www. Wait. www.raisedroast.com. These are fine coffees. These are not like a Folgers coffee at all. This is something different and special. Some of the best coffee you will ever drink. And we specialize in single origin varietals. And so, today I'm drinking Sumatra Mutu Batak. And this week, because I got another new Sumatra coffee, this is like one of the last cups of this Mutu I'll have probably. But I got this other new one, and it's just like, oh my God, Arul Dabak or Dadak or some darn thing. Anyway, look it up on the website. I'll hopefully have it up there in the next day or two. It is a fabulous, fabulous coffee, and I'm just excited to have it in my stable of coffees. And so with that, let's go to, this is my channel or our channel now. And, be sure and hit the likes today. We could use some likes, and subscribe and ring the bell, stay notified. Life is good. So let's get this. This will probably be our last Wednesday show. And we'll be moving to Sundays, not this next Sunday, but the one after. So I don't have to do 2 shows a week, So that is the plan that I just made up right now. That's how good we are. We can make plans on the roll, and I love it. We got a room full of folks here. Jessica Dean, all the way from Ireland, and Vilene. I saw Simone someplace, and oh my gosh. And Christy's out there someplace, didn't want to come on today and say hi. Well, let me get started bringing folks on. To heck with it. I'm just going to bring them on. And here we go. Everybody's coming on at once. It takes me a couple of different clicks. Let us welcome Laura and Casey. Oh my God, neither of them came on. There we go. Yay.
Hello.
Oh my gosh, these guys are crazy today.
Hey, we're going to do our best to keep you all lively and messed up.
Oh my God. How's everything going in your neighborhoods? COVID's really strong here this week. I've had like 2 friends die in the last week, and both COVID related, and it's like getting scary to go out there, even though the numbers this week are dropping. This is no bullshit thing.
Oh, that COVID's just raving out west. It's just raging like a wildfire. It's heading this way. I can feel it coming. Almost got singed from it. There's like in Winnipeg now, it's starting to rage, and in Kenora and the far west of Northern Ontario. It's like creeping into Thunder Bay, I think, any day now.
Well, let's hope not. It's kind of starting to subside out here a little bit, but it just comes and goes in waves. It's up and down. They say each wave lasts about 2 months before it levels off. And I got some numbers the other day from that board of directors that I'm on the theater, and it's kind of plateaued out a little bit. So I'm like fired up about that. We haven't been able to operate the theater at anywhere near capacity and things just keep getting canceled and because we can't bring it in for cheap enough, because it's a small theater. It's only like 130 seats or something like that. And so anything that
Well, I know that our government doesn't want to really roll things back into other new lockdowns, and they even said they didn't want to anymore, but they ended up doing that out west. They trying to bring back lockdowns in some way or shape.
Well, didn't they do a lockdown in like, what is it, Alberta or something?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, they had to do something because the hospitals were being overrun. They had to bring in the army to help them, like in the early days.
Right. Well, here in Washington State, we've been pretty good, but Idaho's been kind of an anti-vaxxer whole state, and our governor's gotten a fight because the hospitals in Idaho are full, and our governor is saying, then mask up. We're tired of you feeling that, because here along the east side of the state, our hospitals are full too.
I'm not sure what's going on. I saw a statistic the other day which kind of startled me, that only about half of our Indigenous community are vaccinated here in Thunder Bay. I know there's a lot of reserves where virtually everybody is, but here in Thunder Bay, according to the statistics, there's a lot of people that still aren't. And that's kind of alarming to me. I really thought by now that most of the community would be vaccinated.
Well, it's a funny thing because it's kind of really gotten political in this country, and it's the right and the left, and
I don't know. It's probably a little more complicated than just that here. A little different reasons, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the reason is for it here, because I haven't heard
some of my conversations, and this is one I really try to skirt around a lot, is because I don't really want to talk about it. But from talking to other Canadians, it's just as political up there as it is here.
Yeah, I know. I don't really want to.
Yeah,
I want to believe in a good way that everybody will find their way to a vaccine at some point.
Well, and that's true, and that kind of starts touching on what we want to talk about today is like the unvaxxed masses. Is we still need to show them love and kindness, and
what was your caption for the show today?
What's that?
What was your little highlight for the show today?
Love regardless.
Love regardless.
Love regardless. Yes, we have to just hold our hearts, space for everybody, no matter what, no matter who, no matter where you are, no matter what your belief. We have to hold space for you and hope.
Yeah. Right. I agree with what Fancy says. It's a tragedy that it's become political, and like this is this is kind of where we wanted to go with the show today. Like our inability to see past certain things so that we can show that unconditional love, that love regardless of who it is. Okay, so my neighbor may not want to wear a mask. That doesn't make me love them any less. goofball that cuts in front of me in line at the grocery store may not be wearing a mask, but that's not gonna that shouldn't make me love them any less. I may not like them very much, but that doesn't make me love. That shouldn't make me love them less. And as soon as we start treating them differently and even remotely show the slightest bit of that lack of love or respect on a basic human level, we are no better than they are. And like, this is one of the big things that is that like we want to like I said, that's part of today's show. We want to stress the point of love regardless. Love regardless of who you are, what your belief is. Okay, so we may not see eye to eye.
We don't want everybody to see eye to eye.
No.
Oh God, no!
How boring is that?
That wouldn't be any fun at all. No, it's what makes us special. All those differences we have, they're not bad things. They're great things. They're wonderful things.
Well, one thing I've been saying ever since the great orange one anointed himself God was the fact that if you're calling names, you're part of the problem. You're not part of the solution. Yeah. What we need to do is look past these problems and start looking for the solution to unite us all in love and kindness, if you will. I mean, it's a stretch. The spiritual leaders that I follow stress love everybody, serve everybody, and tell the truth. Truth is, I don't love everybody, and so I get better by being able to say that. We have to work towards this common goal of mutual respect and work past that.
Well, you're right about, if we point the finger at someone, there's 3 pointing back. When we do this, put my hands up like that, so I need to look at myself first and my own motives and why I'm doing that. And that's not easy to do, but I need to. And you're right, Casey. Love unconditional. That means that I need to try and practice respect for all people, not just the ones I find comfortable. Like forgiveness. Who deserves forgiveness?
We're all human. We all make mistakes. We all deserve some basic level of forgiveness. Okay, you make the mistake once. Okay, you're forgiven. If you keep making that same stupid mistake, that's where the line can get a little skewed.
Well,
but that shouldn't make us love them any less.
Exactly. Yeah, and I agree with that. I really love the caption for the show.
Yeah.
Love regardless. Kind of makes me pause and think.
And to bounce off of what you were saying, Lara, like we talked about when you point one finger, there's 3 pointing back. One of the other things about love regardless is, and especially, and it's I'm not saying this is something that only transgender people deal with, LGBT people deal with. Everyone deals with it. We just seem to deal with it a little bit more. Is the ability to love yourself. And loving yourself is one of the first steps to being able to give that to give that love to others. Because if we, there's a saying, a saying, how can you love me if you can't love yourself? Loving ourselves is the foundation, is that baseline. We have to start with loving ourselves Because if we can't find a way to love ourselves unconditionally, regardless of our faults and flaws, how can we extend that same love to others without being seen as hypocrites?
But isn't the way that we start loving ourselves is by loving others, by being able to do those little kindnesses, like smile at somebody, and when somebody's got one thing or two things and you let them go ahead of your big loaded grocery cart full of stuff in the line, those little things, or help a little old lady out to her car with the groceries, or there are little things that we can do that add to our loving ourselves, and one thing that I did early in transition that was like suggested by my therapist was put a picture of myself with all my good qualities, a daily affirmation picture by the mirror in the bathroom, and I tell you what, it helped.
Oh my God, looking in that mirror and seeing myself in a good way,
So difficult to do.
that was not easy to practice, to learn to really be able to do that. Boy, I had so many, different layers of self-doubt and fear and shame and everything else. I had to forgive myself for so many things, whether I had hurt anybody else in the process. I'm sure I did, but
So the point of the affirmation picture.
yeah.
Exactly. I like what Simone has put up here. One of the most rewarding spiritual practices is to cultivate the ability to bring love into all aspects of our life and to all people we encounter. And that's those little things, those little kindnesses, I like to call them. And sometimes it's just like smiling at somebody, and as we're walking down the street and we've got these masks on, you smile and you can still see it in people's
Well,
eyes.
the eyes, they smile big time.
Absolutely.
It's visible even if you can't see the face.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, that's so easy and so rewarding. And oh my God, I love just to say hi to them too.
I love that, Simone. That's a wonderful virtue that we really can nurture, that we can really work at bringing in our day.
And then there's this from Simone. Oh my God.
Oh no.
And this
I
one.
think
There's
Audrey's
two
here. Oh, hi,
sides.
Audrey. Hi, Audrey. I haven't seen you for a long time. Nice to see you.
This is a good thing from Aubrey. Hi, Aubrey. Good to see you today. People with life after death experiences commonly say it's the little things that matter most to them. I love little things. And that's that one thing about that friend of mine that passed away from COVID. She was always full of little stories. I just loved running into her, and we would go to lunch and she would regale me with stories. Oh, my stars. And I'm really going to miss her for that, and they were just little things that she had encountered in her life, and just funny lady. So what else?
Do you have fond memories that you're going to keep with in your heart about her?
Oh, I know. And, it's like that old Warren Zevon song that he wrote when he was dying, and keep me in your heart for a while.
Yeah.
And that's what we should all do. Anyway, Holly's here today.
Hey.
Holly, hi, Holly.
I was never good enough as a child, so it's still hard for me to think that you are a hardworking woman, Holly. You need to let that bad shit go, How's Byron, by the way? Fill us in the details. Or, as much as you want to be public.
Sounds like we need to tickle Holly. I know. I
This
was the
is
same
this
way.
is
I
my
was never good
hometown. People
enough.
in Dayton always smile and wave, and I smile back and wave back. Love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that's so true.
Growing up, I was never good enough for, my dad would look at something I made or did, and he would immediately point out the things that were deficient rather than the things that were good about it.
Mhm.
And that stayed with me. I think it still has an impact today. I have to pinch myself and say I put my best foot forward.
Well, I think that that's part of what the love regardless is, us putting our best foot forward. But when things get down,
Mhm.
and being able to, I'm not much of a Christian, but turn the other cheek, so to speak, you know, and still show love and kindness to those people who might be obstacles
Mhm.
to, and like the orange one, like the orange man. I love that, the way you had put that, the orange dude.
I what Audrey's saying, I kind of wonder. I know of three different people that they had near death experiences that when they came back, and they obviously nearly died, but they came back, and they came back different people. They came out with a different outlook. They came
Mhm.
back with a certain kindness about them that wasn't quite there like that before. Just kind of similar to, those little things, like you say, Regina.
Uh-huh.
And it was noticeable. It was obvious in their behavior. They just were happier. They were
Yeah.
more in the moment, here, present, looking for things to be happy about and grateful for rather than the way they were.
So you've brought up that in the moment several times today.
I know, because I feel so.
And I mean, that's something to think about. It is because, I mean, love works in this moment.
Mhm.
Yep.
In this moment, what is important? This moment right here. Let's forget all those other past moments and all the moments yet to come in the future, and talk about this moment. What is the most important thing? And if we make love the most important thing in this moment, does that change the world? Does that change the way that we react to other people outside? Because each moment changes. And
Mhm.
if we can always keep love in the moment, you know, don't we start to change things?
We send a ripple out into the world.
So that's cultivating relationship.
Yes.
So I just be still and know that you are loved. Just what I was saying.
Hmm.
Just what I was saying. So nice that Simone and I are on the same wavelength. Whoops.
Christy, Holly,
Byron is in good
eating
spirits,
well.
eating well, being treated well, getting used to only having 1 foot, no visitors allowed except to visit his room window and talk on the phone.
Oh,
Oh
I send my
dear.
love and my heart to him.
Mhm.
I didn't know that. I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear he's in
So
good
thank you for
spirit.
the update, Holly.
Yeah, thank you.
Give our love to Byron and tell him he's in our thoughts, and I look forward to seeing him when he gets out of the hospital.
Hmm.
So
Does that a sign, Casey? Did
mhm.
you come? Did Casey? Did you come up with a reading for us?
Pay attention to the thoughts you have throughout the day. Um, That's good. I mean, that's being mindful, isn't it, Simone?
Yeah.
Just being
Mhm.
mindful of what's going on all around us and in our hearts.
Yeah. Um, I do have one. It's
Oh,
not necessarily like of the same caliber as the readings that the two of you have. Um, I don't own any of those books. I should probably buy a couple of them. But I did some internet searching today, and I found a little short story that talks about unconditional love, and just the example that's given. It's very touching. So whenever we want to go about reading, let me know, and I will.
okay. Well, we'll have to leave that for Regina to decide when the moment is. But that's
Well, thank you
wonderful.
guys. That's
Yeah,
yes, Simone. Any thought we think more than once in a meditation. When we meditate on something, we manifest it.
absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Mhm.
It's been my experience. I sometimes you have to wait for a long time, but if you leave the door open to the idea and it's a good idea and you keep it present with you, it will come to fruit.
Mhm.
I mean, I suppose you could look.
What
Go ahead there, Casey.
uh, what was it like? The best things are worth waiting for, or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't know. Well, if your reading is about um, unconditional love, let's do it and see where it takes us.
Okay.
yay.
So, without further ado, let's give center stage to our friend here.
Okay. Um, a store owner was putting up a sign that read "Puppies for sale." Soon a little boy came along and asked, "How much are you going to sell those puppies for?" The store owner replied, "Anywhere between 30 to 50." The little boy reached into his pocket and pulled out some change. He said, "I only have $2.37, but can I have a look at them?" The store owner smiled and whistled. Out of the kennel came his dog named Lady, running down the aisle, followed by 5 little puppies. One puppy was lagging considerably behind. The little boy immediately singled him out. He asked the owner what was wrong with that one, and the owner explained that the pup was born with a bad hip socket and would limp all his life. The little boy was all set to buy that particular pup. The store owner tried to convince him that he would not really want a lame pup, but the little boy was adamant to buy the same for the price as the others. He did not want the store owner to give the pup straight in the eye and said, "This pup is worth every bit as much as the other dogs, and I'll pay the full price. In fact, I will give you $2.37 now and 50 cents every month until I have him paid for." Still, the store owner tried to tell the boy that the pup would not be able to run, jump, and play like the other puppies. Then the little boy reached down and rolled up his pant leg to reveal a badly twisted, crippled left leg supported by a big metal brace. He looked up at the man and said, "Well, I don't run so well myself, and the little puppy will need someone who understands." Tears welled up in the store owner's eyes, and he smiled and said, "Son, I hope and pray that each and every one of these puppies will have an owner such as you." We may never know of a greater character unless there is in ourselves something congenial to it. In life, it doesn't matter who you are, but whether someone appreciates you for what you are, accepts you, and loves you unconditionally.
Well, that was freaking
That
fantastic.
was incredible, Casey. I kind of like
Son of a gun. You got me sitting back here crying.
me too, Regina. I'm sitting here. I'm trying to contain myself.
Son of a gun. You're
I
not.
got lost in your in the story. That's the best kind of a thing that we could share. In fact, I even thought about, rather than looking for a reading, next week writing something, or trying, or looking for something just like you just did. So yeah, I'm holding back the tears. I should let them go, because they're good tears. Not we shouldn't stop our tears. We should let the tears go. They're healing.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with tears.
Yeah, that's amazing story.
Yeah.
It really touched home with me for I think they're probably obvious reasons, but I'll say it out loud. You know, I just wanted someone to accept me.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
that's all anyone wants.
Reset my mindfulness and humility. Yeah.
That's what
Perfect,
we're
man.
for, Aubrey. That's what we're for. I'm really thrilled to see you today.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Aubrey much lately. Violence. That's kind of fun. Bonsoir, violence. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Oh my gosh.
Dawn's
So
spell checker. Yeah, I know. The typewriter gets me in lots of trouble with how it fills words in.
oh my God. Well, yeah. Or you just hit it just wrong. And
Yeah, especially on this stupid phone. You mean typing it. I live and die by that. It fills in words for you.
Oh yeah.
oh my
And
God.
if I don't take a quick look before I click send,
My big old.
have you ever looked aghast at what you just sent?
All the time.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No.
My fingers are big enough that I'll be sitting there typing and then realize after I've sent something that I was hitting the word up above the letter, of that top row, and it's just like completely screwed up, and there's no way that anybody's ever going to understand what I just put.
I watched a show where they talked about that, what the phone does and how it works. And did you know that they really try to help us by the algorithms don't allow certain kinds of words to be used? In this case, it's kind of a good godsend for people like me who type and then just click send, because I'm in such a hurry to get that response out sometimes. So, it could have backfired really badly, but instead the algorithms saved me. They didn't, there's an obvious word that could maybe slip in there that shouldn't, or you wouldn't really ever want to slip in there. So it does help you, but it doesn't. It also kind of ensures you.
So here's a comment that kind of we can work back towards our topic of the day. With blind people, they are often treated as if they are not worth as much as someone who can see. And this is where we can make a difference is make sure that we treat everybody equally. And
look past the disability to the
person.
When
you see somebody that's obviously blind, is instead of just smiling at them, say hi to them as well, because they're probably not getting that much. And those little kindnesses. I mean, we can all stand to be a little kinder.
Yeah.
Yep. I have a hard time with hearing. Most people.
What?
I have a hard time with. Oh, you're bad.
So do I.
But it gets me in all kinds of trouble because I don't hear every word that people say sometimes, and in most normal social settings, there's a lot of background noise with my hearing aids. I hear that. I'll hear the wind blowing and everything else, but I don't hear unless I'm looking right at someone, reading their lips, kind of.
Uh-huh.
And most people don't seem to realize if you have all your senses and faculties, it's a lot easier. So we really have to, I think, I have to remind myself to pay attention to see people in a good way.
Mhm.
To, that I make that point in my daily travels wherever I am. If I notice somebody who's a little hard of hearing or has an eyesight problem, or someone who, all the visible minorities, I think someone said it earlier. We just go out of our way each day, wherever we are, to find something good to say, to acknowledge people in a good way. And it makes a world of difference.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't even realize those little things, that might be the only time someone smiled at that person or said hello.
It's those little things.
So we're all gonna come out of this today being the happiest bunch of campers that you ever seen. We're gonna hit the streets and not have a frown on our face and a constant smile and say hello to everybody that it's humanly possible to. I'm being somewhat facetious, but why can't we do that? Well, I mean, why shouldn't we do that?
Yeah.
I like to wallow sometimes, and a smile doesn't always come easy. But then I have some friends that will notice that I'm wallowing, and they'll start poking me.
Oh. Uh-huh.
And I need those kind of people around. If there was more of us like that, it would be much easier for us to, I think, find good in things, because we'd be nurturing it. It's a practice, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a spiritual practice to go out and be kind.
Yeah.
It's more than what meets the eye. It's like it builds our spirituality. It makes us better folks.
It's like love regardless.
Yes. Love regardless.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's what it's all about. That's what living is about. I mean, if Ram Dass says we're loving awareness, and that's all we are. That's what our spirit is loving awareness. Then we should be loving awareness. There's no point in anything else. And it's those little kindnesses that will help us in that direction.
Yes, I think about regardless. I have moments of most every day where I'm not all those things. I'm not happy. I'm not joyful. I'm not feeling like presenting out compliments or saying hello or smiling at people. I'm just kind of trudging along. I might even be really unhappy.
Well, what the hell's the matter with you then?
I don't know.
So I mean,
I'm just acknowledging that I have those things.
Of course, we're not always going to be walking down the street feeling like saying hi to everybody or helping letting somebody go in front of us in the grocery store or those things. But if we do it more tomorrow, if we strive to do those things, what is it they say? Progress, not perfection.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know, there's none of us that are perfect at all of this.
Mhm.
You know, I'm sitting here, you know, saying, you know, you bring it all back is to I'm certainly not perfect at loving every person I run into. I'm certainly not perfect at walking down the street saying hello, you know, to everybody. I'm not perfect at a lot of things, but we don't have to be. And if we understand that, accept the fact that we're not perfect, but we're trying, we're a lot better off. You know, to be mindful and aware that there's other people out there that are probably having worse days than I am when I'm not on the top of my game,
Mhm.
you know, and there's a certain element of gratitude that needs to be present in our lives to be able to go out and do that, you know.
Absolutely.
What's that saying? It's, instead of saying no, never to myself about something, maybe it's something I'm having trouble with, a person, an action, or something I've heard or lived through with somebody, I say, just not right now, maybe, but I'll try and be open to it on another day. I at least leave the door open to a kinder way to view the world, even if I don't
Well,
particularly feel I can do it right now.
but the thing is, whatever our negative thing is, you know, how important is that to this moment right now? You know, because it's already in the past.
Exactly. And sometimes you know, some days I guess there, at my age, I spent a lot of time not understanding any of this stuff we're talking about. So I have this part of me that's comfortable with living in the past or dreaming about the future and not being present. And it's like what Simone is saying here. You know, we all wear the past or the future in our own way, depending on our experiences. If I interpret
Exactly.
what she's saying right, I agree with that. I'm an old soul, an old soul.
So regardless of what is going on in our lives, you know, I mean, we're not going to be perfect every day, but in this next moment that's coming up, if I can set aside what's making me feel bad and do something for somebody, whether I want to or not, you know, it's not about me all the time. It's about doing for others, you know, that
Selfless,
being of service.
selfless.
And sometimes the best service that we can be is just freaking smile at somebody.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, that's just my humble opinion.
Selfless love or selfless actions.
Mhm.
You know,
Unconditional.
Hey, I
unconditional.
gotta go yell at my dog for a minute.
Oh,
So you guys
okay.
carry this conversation on.
Okay, we'll try.
But like I've seen like the chat room is like buzzing with this today. It is.
Oh,
Francie says we all have disabilities, but often arrogantly think we're above or can't relate to those with obvious external disability. Yeah, it's like we are not all 100% perfect. We all have flaws, and you know we can't single each other out for each other's flaws because there's no love there. Okay, I see you. I see that you have this, this, and this. I love you. I love you for the person you are. I love you for um the quirks and qualities that you bring to my life, even if I don't actually even know you. Um, it's one of the things I enjoy is I normally was never one to want to stand out. But I mean, like, it's a little difficult to not stand out when I'm walking down the street with blue hair. And like I'll have I'll have little kids, they're looking up at me and walking past, oh my God, she's got blue hair, and I'll wave to them. And the other day I was at Target, and this little girl walks by and waves at me. Oh, no, this little girl walks by and she's looking at me, and I wave at her, and she smiles and waves back. And like at that moment, I felt like it was an indescribable feeling, but it was a great feeling. And even though I had my own issues, I'm out not feeling quite myself, having some dysphoric moments, but seeing the smile on that little girl's face kind
Well,
of brushed all of my issues aside.
it just melted your heart for a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just kind of made everything feel totally okay in that moment.
Totally okay.
Yeah. I know it's the greatest feeling when I feel seen by someone.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to say to everybody here, I see you. I love you just the way you are. I appreciate you. I hope good things come into your day. And I hope that wherever you are in your life, that there's a future that looks bright.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a hopeful wish. But I can just simply cap it off with a little smile. The next person I see when I walk out the door later. And that's affirming what I just wanted to share. And it's, yeah, I'll stop there. I'm getting carried away.
It just reminded me of like Holly was mentioning about the blind student that was in her class, and it reminded me of another short story, if I may. It was just another one of those like unconditional love stories and I like I scrolled through like several before I found this one in
So are
particular.
you trying to make us cry again?
I'm okay with that, Regina. Come on, it's okay. Let her share one more.
Okay, just this one time though.
Just okay.
One time deal. One time deal.
This one's called A Blind Man's Love. A man married a beautiful girl. He loved her very much. One day she developed a skin disease. Slowly she started to lose her beauty. It so happened that one day her husband left for a tour. While returning, he met with an accident and lost his eyesight. However, their married life continued as usual. But as days passed, she lost her beauty gradually. The blind husband did not know this, and there was not any difference in their married life. He continued to love her, and she also loved him very much. One day she died. Her death was all her last rites and wanted to leave that town. A man from behind called and said, "Now, how will you be able to walk all alone? All these days your wife used to help you." He replied, "I am not blind. I was acting because if she knew I could see her skin condition due to a disease, it would have pained her more than the disease. I didn't love her for her beauty alone, but I fell in love with her caring and loving nature, so I pretended to be blind. I only wanted to keep her happy." When you truly love someone, you will go to any extent to keep your loved one happy, and sometimes it is good for us to act blind and ignore one another's shortcomings in order to be happy. The beauty will fade with time, but heart and soul will always be the same. Love the person for what he or she is, or they are, from inside, not from outside.
Are you trying to tell me read my own life story here in my own home? That's it just hits way close to home what you
Yeah.
just shared. I relate again. It's the ones we're closest to that we often have the most difficulty looking past those shortcomings, right? Get caught up in them. Sometimes we need to be a little blind. It's okay to be a little blind. What do you think, Regina?
I'm so busy reading comments.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to kind of like keep these guys into the conversation too, and it's interesting. I was just about ready to suggest let's go back and up here a ways and point some of this stuff out. You know, the chat room's gone crazy here.
I know this kind of leads me to think about something I had hoped to get a moment to share about. Kind of, I would say, it just relates to the whole topics we've been moving around talking about. So here in North America, in Canada, the US, then they've been finding children at residential schools. And here I don't want to focus on the tragedy, although it's totally so tragic. I want to focus on the idea that it's going to take a lot of kindness for us to work through these things. They've got over 6,000 children now in just a small number of schools that they've looked at where they found unmarked graves. It's not always talked about very much. It was early on when they first started finding them. Yesterday, I heard in the news in France that there was a 2-year-long study that looked into the church's treatment of the youth, the children in the schools and the parishes in France. And again, just like here in Canada, there's a systemic racism and lack of consideration for the life of these children. There's a lot of bad things that they uncovered. And it happened over an 80-year period, not just a one-off thing. I was struck when I heard that. I had to sit back in my chair and think about it's not just here in my town or in my province or in my country or even just on this continent. It's like that everywhere in the world. There are a lot of things going on, and love regardless. You know, the people that perpetrated those things on others, they're probably the hardest ones for people to find love in their heart for. But we need to, because we're all, in the way I see things, the only way that we'll really move forward is together through these things, healing with kindness shared somehow.
But I couldn't agree with you more, but I think the main thing that we have to do is take an accounting of everything. We need to find the and be aware and of all the things that the atrocities that have happened in the past, and trying to it's not an easy thing to do.
No,
it brings up a lot of.
It gets
hurt.
emotional. It talks to all the things that we're really trying to, work through in this little group today that we're talking about. All the differences in people. There are things in common that we have we're all human. We all have different varying degrees of difficulties, some more than others, but we have to find a way to walk together, to see each other.
Well, we have to, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Need to do is to figure out how to get the truth out there.
exactly.
You know, I mean, if you've ever heard of Howard Zinn and his natural history of North America or something, and oh my God, it's just one of the hardest books I've ever tried to read, and I made it up to the Civil War, I think it was, and I just couldn't. I didn't get further than that. You know, it started with Columbus, and you know, oh my God, and it was just so painful, painful to read that and understand the truth, you know, and then you know, we've got all this history.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and it's like trying to love our way through that, you know, and still approach each day. And that's why being in the moment is so important, because if we love in this moment, we can find a way through some of that stuff that's happened centuries ago. You know, I mean, I don't want to belittle it, or I mean, it's important stuff, but how do we live with it?
Yeah. The only way that I've ever found is to walk with that person, smile, and let them feel their pain and support them. But in doing that, I found myself recognizing things I wasn't able to see before. It wasn't until I walked a mile in their shoes. Then I started to see my own path through the things that I had dysfunction about, or that I had traumas about. And I started to see the differences that we all have in a different way too. I started to see, like Simone said earlier, we're not so different. We all kind of have the same emotions about things, and we just have to let ourselves feel. If we do that, then it's pretty hard to just hate someone. Kind of almost becomes impossible for me anyways. If I allow myself to look at used to and listen to used to and see wherever it is you're coming from, whatever your life is that you've shared about, it endures me to you. I find really I'm no different. Like your readings, Casey. Both of your readings you chose. They hit home. You know, maybe 10, 20, 30 years ago, I would have been not in a frame of mind to get those stories for what they really mean. But today I can.
Yeah.
You know, I love. I think it's interesting what Simone says here. I don't think we can love evil. I could never have loved a person like Hitler. And so how do we deal with that? How do we open our hearts to a dude like Columbus, or a dude like Hitler, or one of these truly evil frickin' people, you know, and how do we do that?
That's an ageless kind of a question. Throughout eternity, there's been people that might have appeared to be like Hitler, that were eternally evil, so to speak. But the truth is, they're people, and they're sick. They're sick in their hearts, spiritually, So there's an emptiness there. And there are many cultures that help us see them in a different light. It doesn't condone their behavior, doesn't make anything they did right in any way. But for me, I'm not qualified to carry hate in my heart. Whenever I allow hate to linger in my heart, I find it that if that's what I'm nurturing, that's what I tend to become. I become
Exactly.
the very thing that I'm trying to not be a part of.
Mhm.
Exactly. I mean, you said that very well. Yeah,
And
we
like,
just can't. We need to let that hate go.
yeah,
And open our hearts. And it's I went through that with the orange guy a lot. Is I would like consciously, mindfully try and open my heart a little bit to this jackass that's trying to eradicate people like us. And and you get a lot of resistance when you talk about that, and
Mhm.
and it's hard to keep that out of here. I mean, it's not easy.
No,
When
it's really hard.
yeah, when I worked for the tribe that I worked for, Columbus Day was a day that we did not get off for a holiday. We
Yeah.
had, and if you worked on Columbus Day in support. That was the thing. Yeah, and you can feel the pain though, and it's hard to deal with sometimes.
There are a lot of other days that are similar in that. Thanksgiving, the whole meaning behind Thanksgiving for Indigenous people is not the way that most people see it.
Right.
It's a much more difficult thing to digest.
It's kind of a play on
something that
words there.
something that Christy just said a minute ago is kind of the outlook as far as loving evil people. And then Aubrey a little bit later says that they're created, not born. When when a person is born, they are not born evil. So right there at that core base, that's where our love needs to be. What happens to them as they grow and they're shown the ways of the world. Christy says that not to love them based on their behavior. I couldn't do that either. No, I could not love someone based on their behavior. But at their baseline humanity, that is all I am required to give as far as love and respect. Anything more than that is earned. Oh, you want me to love your behavior? Then give me something that's worthy of returning love for. If you're going to give me, genocides and anti-legislation and things of that nature, I can't love that behavior. I
No.
love you as a human being.
Right.
Because when
Okay,
you
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
mother, you didn't have all those thoughts in your head beforehand. I can't love who you are now, but I love you as the base, 7 pound, 8 pound child that you were when you came out. That is the basis. That's the baseline. And anything more has to be earned. But if we can't at least look back and realize that baseline level of love, that's where we can say, well, we're no better than them, because they have overlooked, like Francie says, they have overlooked that baseline level of love when they, attempt genocide, when they attempt anti-legislation, because we are still human beings. We have little quirks and little differences. That's our uniqueness. But we're still human. We still deserve that baseline love and respect. Anything more is extra. But that's where we have to start. We have to at least start at the baseline. If we can't start at the baseline, then that's where there's no hope.
Well, that baseline is kind of like an awakening that can happen. There's a lot of different philosophy of thought about this topic that we're sort of into right now, where, do we come into this world evil? No. Generally speaking, in the circles I've traveled in, the consensus thought is sort of, we come in here clean, pure,
Yeah.
full of unconditional love. The moment we are born, we start to collect our human experience, and it evolves according to our lived experience. And it can be negative and positive, and it can create monsters, and it can create angels.
Mhm.
And it takes, like Audrey's saying, we do it with compassion. Those people that are lost, you could say their souls are lost to themselves. We talked early on in the show about finding a way to love ourselves. In a way, we're looking to connect with our own spirit, with our own soul again. And through that, we're able to love where we weren't able to unconditionally before. And it's sort of an ideal or a virtue that we can work or aspire to, awaken to. And there's thousands of groups out there that try to answer these sort of questions each and every day. And within my own culture, Indigenous Ojibwe territory here where I live in Northern Ontario, those things are spoken to. We all are living on a human experience that, we have to break the cycle of abuse with some form of unconditional love and acceptance. And it has to start with me.
Mhm.
It's a really difficult subject. Evil people that appear to be evil, we can get into probably a 6-hour debate about how they became that evil. But the truth is, at least in my way of seeing them, they're lost. Their emptiness inside. There's an emptiness in that person that's trying to
So,
be filled.
so it doesn't really matter how they became evil. Is what matters is how we can do what we can do as individuals to change their behavior and attitude.
Yeah. Well, we can't change anybody. That's the whole thing. Only I can change me. Only you are you, Regina. Your
But
favorite saying, the way you,
I understand that, but we can change ourselves to be more loving and kind towards them and hope that it won't make them bad choice of words, but gives them the opportunity to respond in
yes,
kind to.
yes. I love that.
Yes.
That's exactly right. And the only way to do that, that's how we break the cycle of abuse, is we see it for what it is. We acknowledge it as its truth, that it's there, it's happened, or it's happening. And we don't just condone it by ignoring it or anything else. We love our way through it. We face it.
Mhm.
We face those things, whatever they are.
Since we can't change anybody, isn't that the only option that really makes a difference? Because if we greet them with the same thing, it just makes it worse.
Mhm. We're no better than them.
Yes.
No better than them.
Exactly
Where we
what you
started
said
this
earlier.
conversation.
That's what you said earlier, something to that effect. I remember. Yeah.
So,
Essence of all life is pure love and nothing else. Trees, people, animals.
amen.
Francie. Amen.
Yes.
Eho, beautiful. It's true. There is an energy that's rises above all else.
And then Simone follows up with another good one. Simone is on the ball today. Thank you, Simone. Thank you.
Oops. Yeah, I don't. So what's sometimes? Yeah, I don't know about truly being born equal. Sometimes being different to the so-called norm can open you up to that awareness of forgiveness to others and their behaviors that I'm fine can tune you into spiritual gifts. I couldn't agree more. Well said.
Absolutely, Jessica.
I think, my own personal experience, I think by being trans has opened me up to a higher level of spirituality. Hallelujah. but it's opened doors that I never thought that would ever be open, just by this experience of having lived as two genders and just by the don't get me started.
No, but it's true what she said. That there's a when you've experienced life on both sides of the fence like that, it pits you against a lot of emotions that you have to, if you survived them and lived through them, you found some peace along the way, and it's opened your heart and your mind and your spirit.
Right.
So it can't help but make you maybe a little more sensitive to more spiritual ideas, open to them.
Well, I think it does that because we're more sensitive to how we act with each other.
Yeah. We actually care about each other.
I want to comment here on what Francie is saying, willingness to witness and stand up and take a voice and protect. And by talking about stuff, by our standing up here, we're doing what we can to protect.
We're standing each other up. There's a group that I'm really so privileged to be able to be with all these wonderful ladies that I'm a part of in this group. And we stand each other up. We consciously think about that, support each other, just like we're doing here. And the most amazing things come from it. Now look at all the comments in the chats that you've been sharing with us, Regina. This is like love and support at its grandest, if you ask me.
Here, this is the foundation in which we can create the change that we want to see. It starts with us, and being here all the people in the chat room, everything, this amazing conversation that's being had today. This is the concrete foundation for the new world, where we want the world to hopefully go.
And I hope someday, maybe later today or tomorrow, or here in the chats, the support we're giving each other, allowing each other to speak and have our say in a kind way with each other. I'm hoping that there's one person out there that needed to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what makes
Even
me
if
want
it's-
to do it.
Even if it's just one person, that person, as I think you said, in an earlier conversation, Laura, even if it's just one person, that one person could go on to do something to change the world.
Exactly.
Knowing that they were like, oh well, I heard somewhere on some YouTube channel, 3 translators were talking about this, that, and the other, and here we are now. It's like,
What's that saying?
we did that.
True life is stranger than fiction. Anything can happen. You don't know. You just
No, you don't. Ain't it great?
Yeah.
There's a surprise around every corner. Yeah, who knows? I love, I love doing this, and I hope that we help somebody someday. And that's all that really matters. That's what we do it for, I think. And
I also do it to see what kind of comic strips you're going to create for us, Casey. I get excited.
We're still going. Chapter
Yeah, we're
9
still
is going to be a big one.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Casey, talk to us about your new job, a teaching assistant.
Yeah. And it's another one too. Like, this has, this kind of ties into our conversation here today, because another one of the big issues, another one of the disabilities are the label that people use, they call, special needs. I'm going to be a teacher's assistant working with special needs children. And just because they have a disability of some sort does not make them less of a person. My daughter has a developmental disability, and she is the light of my life. And
oh, that's very obvious. When she shows up, your eyes just light right up. Yeah.
And like it's definitely given me a different appreciation for seeing for how I see people. As Christy says, we get that firsthand experience. Our lives. Oh, Marty! Hi, Marty!
Hi, Marty. Nice to
Hi,
see
Marty.
you. Do drive by hearts here. Going by, drive by hearts. We'll see you.
But it's like our ability to have that firsthand experience is part of what adds to the wisdom. I've had so many experiences that if certain things that hadn't gone the way they did in my life, I would never have had. And it's made me who I am today. And while there are some parts that I would prefer were a little different, you really can't complain. I'm who I am, and I've got and amazing family, and I've got amazing friends, people, that care for me, and just an amazing diverse community. And we just have to unite under the love and kindness banner, and that will be the change in the world.
Love regardless.
And we are united under that banner.
Well, we're united, the three of us, the four of us, including
Yeah, the four of us
Christy,
are pretty much here,
and
along
everybody,
with all of our listeners.
all of our listeners.
Yes.
I'm so, my friend Casey, I'm so happy. So let's wrap this up.
Okay.
We're like there at the end of the show, and I'm sure. So this is our last Wednesday afternoon show.
We're going to become the morning crew after this.
We're going to become the Sunday morning crew. Like
Sunday
instead of go to
morning crew.
church, go to Trans Voices of Love and Kindness.
Oh, I never. Oh, cool. Oh, yeah.
And
I think maybe.
what's that?
Everybody's accepted. Everybody's accepted.
Yeah.
So it'll be like the United States of Regina and Company. I love that. Woo! La la.
And we're going to
La,
meet in
la.
not this Sunday, but in the following Sunday.
About 10 days, yeah.
10 days.
Whatever it really works out to. So we're going to take a little time off, and then we will regroup and come at you full bore in 10 days, roughly. I'm not counting on my fingers. I only got 10, so it could be 11. I'm not sure. So anyway,
7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know.
That's
either.
okay.
Simone is like worried about being able to get out of bed and watch us at 10 o'clock.
I'm hoping that
You
you'll
can
be able
always-
to get up with us on Sunday because we really love having you here, dear.
I know, it is awesome. Everyone is awesome.
Everybody is awesome. And what a
Everyone
great
has a
bunch
voice.
we've had with us today. Gosh, they've just been tearing it up here. And I'm so glad Holly was she still here? I'm just so glad that she
For the update that she gave us, yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that she was able to get away from work and
I know there's not going to be a perfect time for everybody to be able to come in and watch a live video, a live feed.
right. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, what is it? What's that old saying? You can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please all the people all the time.
Exactly.
And I'm just trying. I just think that we've got something going here. We've kind of like worked some of the bugs out, and when we started in this time slot, when Marty and I started in this time slot, a year and a half ago, nobody was working. And so, now people are starting to go back to work. So we got to find a little bit different time slot. So anyway, we're hoping Sunday morning is going to be a good one and be early enough to where we can still get things done here in the afternoon, because I like to go hiking on Sunday afternoons. And
well, my partner and I need to go for our daily walks as soon as she gets
oh,
home.
my friend LeSoir.
LeSoir.
Hi, sweetie.
Hi. Well, hey, it's been a great time. I don't know how an hour and a half flies by so fast.
Oh yeah.
This is crazy.
We love having you here, Simone. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
So we hope
I'm
you
gonna-
can get up.
I imagine that, Regina, you're going to put us down in the storage room for where we first
No,
come in
I-
here. So I'm
Oh,
just going to
Gracie
put my hand
showed
up and
up
say,
here
hugs
too.
everyone. Love you all. We'll see you again. I know you want to say certain things at the end, and you're going to send us off any moment now.
Yeah.
Well, since you wanted to go off, Clara,
Oh,
goodbye. Boom. Just kidding.
okay, bye-bye. I hate you. I hate you.
I don't really have anything. Oh gosh.
I love
So
you.
anyway,
You can
I love everybody, and it has been a great show today. Love the conversation. Loved you. And I keep fading out, boom, freezing, or whatever it does. It goes black on my end, and I don't know. Anyway, I'm glad everybody was here that's here. We're losing customers, so let's just close out. It must be time for our exit strategy, our outro, and love to all. Bye-bye.